Every time you bring somebody new into your business, you take a risk. The risk is either that the new person will damage your business, or that they'll accelerate it and take it to new places of possibility. We leave that choice typically to your managers. Your managers have got day jobs. They're accountants or they're salespeople but they've all got day jobs. And for very few people, for very few managers at least, the idea of them becoming a specialist hirer is just not on their plate. And yet it has to be, because the cost of getting it wrong, the cost of hiring the wrong person who comes on board, fails to thrive, or even damages the team dynamic and the DNA of your business, the cost of that is enormous. We did a project with a company with 88 branches, and each branch had about 30 salespeople in it, and they had a massive turnover. So every 3 years, the entire sales team had been replaced through natural attrition and replacement. And very few of their sales people, very small proportion of their sales engine was actually creating the benefit that they needed. It was pretty much the 80-20 principle that 20% of all these salespeople were doing the heavy lifting. And yet they carried on recruiting the same people, the same type of people from the same background, who added to the ongoing problem. And it's not just salespeople. It happens in organizations looking for a new CFO. The new CFO comes into the organization for reasons that the hiring manager doesn't see. They come in, but they're not entirely settled. They're not entirely sure that the new job is the one that's going to provide them with the future they want. And so they sort of hover backwards or hover in the background for 1.5, 2 years before leaving. What's that damage? What's the lost opportunity there? So precision interviewing is our response. It's a way of training your hiring managers to go deeper than simply the shallow, do I see potential in this person? It goes deeper than simply, does their CV says they've got the capability to do this job? And it goes deep into the land of competency. Does this person have the competence to do this job? And there are very clear ways of testing for competence. And when we developed precision interviewing, it was on the basis of thousands and thousands of job profiles that we've created over the years for companies to enable them to understand the jobs that have developed organically. But inside every job profile is a tale-telling slice of what competencies make this person in this job successful. So we bring that knowledge into precision interviewing along with our psychometric knowledge of what is it psychometrically and contextually that really enables somebody to perform or disables them from performing. In the precision interviewing program, we are able to package all of this so that hiring managers can firstly understand the size of the financial commitment they're making when they bring on a new person or new people. It's a massive commitment. You imagine you're paying someone X, whatever the annual salary is, and they're only giving you 40% of what you'd hoped for. You're only getting 40% at best of the X that's their salary. Now multiply that across the business with other hiring managers making other non-precise decisions, and you've suddenly got a massive cost that is best kept hidden because it's so enormous it'll make us lose sleep. How do you turn that hiring manager into a more confident, a more precise, a more detailed, and a more investigating hirer? The program starts off with an understanding of what is the cost of getting this wrong. And the reason is not to frighten anybody, but to enable them to start becoming part of a movement in your business, to encourage other hirers, other people on interview panels, for instance, to take this seriously and to do the preparation and to understand the competency set that it's going to make this work or not. Another important aspect of this program is that we're focused, yes, on competencies, yes, on capabilities. So we show the manager how to analyze CVs more effectively than perhaps his current practice. So we've got capability signaled by the CV. We've got competencies created in advance so that we know what this job is actually about. But then we also look for strengths. So this strengths-based approach that we take with precision interviewing says this: once you've got the core competencies identified, you understand them. Once you understand this candidate in relation to these core competencies for the job, then you start looking for and interviewing for specific strengths the person has. So strengths perhaps like warmth, engagement, strengths like particularly analytical in solving complicated problems. Strength could be the lack of panic that this person shows systematically as they go through the interview in relation to problems or challenges they've faced. So we help the managers, we teach the managers the difference between a competency, which is bedrock essential, to strengths, which are really the flavor with which this person has the potential to do this job. The program comes with a very comprehensive takeaway manual for the manager, and for many people going through a training like this, in my experience, this is formative knowledge for people to become better leaders, because the sort of approach that we deal with and that we train and that people learn in precision interviewing, the sort of approach informs performance management discussions. It informs the setting up of developmental contracts. It underpins so much of what people have to do in the one-on-one management arena. And it's a lifelong learning skill. So I remember going on this in the beginning, not precision interviewing, but a similar sort of program in the very early days of my career. And it fundamentally has changed the way I look at working with people in business. So we're offering you that opportunity to explore what it would be like to train your hiring managers, train your HR team on supporting hiring managers through this process. And I'm very excited to see the sort of results that it could bring if you get your entire management team, the hiring managers, acting as one to make sure you bring better and better people into the organization, interview by interview. I look forward to hearing from you.